went on pretty well. The first go around, and then when it add more flesh tone, I have to add on his face, the shadows, the shading, pretty much on this side, black up here, and then going some black here, and then working on the dragon. But I decided, you know, I did this weekend with paint, so I'm going to do some drawing, and I'm going to draw the sleeve, and hopefully I'll be able to do as much as I can today. It's going to take a few hours, because I'm going to dry it, and then paint, and dry, and paint, so it'll be definitely a process. So what I usually do is I go ahead and start by putting in the hoop. Now this is a 3X shirt or hoodie, so I am not so worried about it. It will fit almost down to the cuff. Well, I want to at least up to the elbow. So I'm going to go ahead and split the inner pointing, and if you are going to use a hoop, your drawing stable or your fabric stable, you want to insert it so that this side that's facing upward, and the lip, got like a little bit of lip. Some of them don't have lips. Some of them don't have this little catch edge to keep it from sliding. So in that case, I would use some sort of lip to bind it. Okay, so I'm going to flip this on inside, and I'm going to center it on this little seam right here. And I'm going to put my favorite character on first from the cartoon. I have plenty of room here, but it's going to kind of wrap around. So here it is on the flat side, and I just kind of gather it down below, kind of like this, just to give it a little bit of hold. And then let's see, so the line for the shoulder is about like right here. So put this up at the top here, the line the center. Because it's a hoodie, it's a thicker fabric, so I have to let this out just a bit.
Don't wait till she kills you. Don't wait till she kills you. Don't wait for it to
Never
stop. We don't have much time. Running out of time. Don't go round in endless worries. Your lack of faith makes you go under.
Yeah, because it's a little thicker.
Endless worries. Just gather your senses and never let her, never let her.
Contacts the lip. Come on. This fabric is
Wait, stop it. Think it's just wrong. Stop. Don't wait for her to kill.
There we go.
You don't wait for her to kill. You don't wait for it to stop. It won't ever stop.
Forget. It's about as
It won't
centered on
ever
the
stop.
fabric as you get. And then I'll just go ahead and tighten it down.
Don't go round
And again, if you don't want it too tight, just enough so that you can turn down the paper off of it. And then I'm going to add like a board underneath. Once I do that, it's going to be just like drawing
Someone
slide. I don't have to hold anything.
Don't wait till she's
I even forget sometimes
you.
it's back.
Don't wait till she's killed. You don't wait for it to stop. We don't have much time.
This will work on very large.
Running out of time.
Like a 3X shirt, 3X, 2X. It should fit up in there. Just gotta be careful not to stretch out your sleeves. quite fit
and
this
never let her, never let her. Don't go round and endless worries. Your lack of faith makes you go under.
So, my favorite character is this guy.
Just gather your senses and never let her, never let her. Wait, stop, rethink what went wrong.
Anyway,
Stop.
let's see, I'm going to put him about halfway here. Make sure that there's no fabric in between. There we are. Yes. Okay. So now I'm using the Billow pencil. It's a white pencil. It will wash out and it will even rub off. So if I make a mistake, here's my eraser. Okay. Let's see. So about it's gonna be. I don't want to make them too small. I want them to take a good portion. So about right here is not that size, and I'll have to adjust it back down for his legs. So I can get a little higher up. It's gonna have some swords, so I have to be at a decent size here. Okay, so right here is decent. This is his mask. The swords can come up this way. And I'll have to adjust to fix that. Let's see. If I make that the very tip, well, that's not going to be the very tip. Tap the sword there. It's kind of serrated. There we go. It's going to be facing this way. So I'll get probably part of his body here. And let me turn up the music so it won't be so boring. sanded down the really super rough parts. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the abs right now. I'll put all those details in. I just want to make sure I get the core. You see how I get the fuzz coming off? That's what's going to cause the paint to kind of be jagged and stuff. You just do your best to try to get it as smooth as possible when you put your layers down. And this being black, and this paint is really thin. I'm using a dimensional fabric paint, but if I could, I'd find a different white. The soft version of Tulip, the Tulip paint is pretty good. I just didn't have that on hand. I'll be bottom of that soreless. And this is his fist. Again, I'm not going to worry about the details of the fingers. Paint hold on in there. And once I have the picture painted with the final colorings, then I would go ahead and put all the details in. And because this is going to be relatively small, I'm probably using my Tulip fabric markers, or whatever fabric markers I have on hand that have these colors in them. Make sure that when I do color this, This is all fuzz, 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 fuzz.
Got me looking all rough, got me losing my toughness. Break the spell, let me tell you. Every single night it's a lucid light. He's a bit like James Dean's silky hair. If this is a dream, wake me. Winter, summer, we got time. Lucid light. Yes or no, high or low. Whatever they do, we can do it better. Blinding smiles, an on-point
The drawing
style.
part is pretty
They
fast.
can play well, but we foretell.
Painting
But we
took
foretell.
days to get where I was
I'm
on
not
the other
joining
one.
our race. I'm not in it for the chase. Go be gone,
Look at
I'ma
this, that
show
one was
you.
pretty big.
Twinkle wide and far, lucid light. He taught me to be me. It's the difference,
Baggy
not the
pants.
distance. Oh, yes or no, high or low. Whatever they do, we can do it better. Blinding smiles, an on-point style. They can play well, but we foretell.
We'll do this one first.
Whatever they do,
Spin it around
we
and
can
get
do
the other
it
one.
better.
Now I'm going to have a little bit of problem, so I need to find something
They
that
can
gets
play
the
well,
down
but we
here and bottom.
foretell.
And I did not pick up
Yes, we
fast for this.
foretell.
Let's see, let's try a book.
There's no heaven, there's no hell. Oh, 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 oh.
Painting this is going to be fun too.
Kill the
Only
church
because
bell.
I don't think I
We
have
are
anything
silent,
big
not
enough
on
to
well.
sit in here to be like
Oh,
a
oh,
be like
oh,
a
oh. Oh, 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 oh. Yes or no, high
to
or
be like
low.
a box.
Whatever they do, we can do it
Oh my
better.
gosh,
Blinding smiles, an on-point style.
Like a box.
They can play well, but we foretell. Yes or no, high or low. Whatever they do, we can do it better. Blinding smiles, an on-point style. They can play well, but we foretell.
Yeah, even though a lot of his color
They can
is
play well,
dark
but we
blue,
foretell.
dark, almost black, I'm going to paint the entire thing white. I'm going to prime the entire thing super white. The whiter the better. If I have like a darker area that I really don't care about, that it, is kind of dark to black almost, I'm going to go ahead and I won't waste too much white paint on that. Black covers pretty well regardless. But when it comes to flesh tone, I found that if these guys weren't light enough, the color of the jacket will show up underneath it. So I didn't want that. And I ended up using the paint in a lot of layers, as well as going over it with painter's tape, painter's white. This is what I usually use with something that has like really tiny white details, like the whites in the eye that I just can't get with the paintbrush and stuff like that. So this is pretty good too. It's acrylic, I believe. And I used a bit of that on the other one to try to get it as white as possible. Otherwise, it became like an off-white or almost gray. Okay, here's the fun part. I'm going to flip this around so that I can get to the back of his leg, but still try to have enough of his leg leading so I know where I am. See, I still need to look. Move it out. enough so I have enough slack to spin this. There we go. Almost there. Almost to the edge. There we go. Let's see, is it enough? Okay, so here's his part here. And move it just a little bit more. Okay. We're gonna throw the book back at it. Part is going to be trying to find something that's long enough, thin enough, that will fit inside here and actually like the box. You know, protects the inside of the sleeve as well as the opposite side. Okay, so here's my leg. Kick out a little bit more. Around a bit. Yeah, I didn't want it to cut off.
I'm gonna be someone else.
So we'll have to do this.
And I know.
This is where his toes are. This is where his big toe is.
I'm gonna be someone else.
And have the fur from good enough for government work. He's wrapping around me. Okay. Okay, so if I can't find what I need, I'll end up using the so I'm keeping the lid. Basically what I needed was something on either side that'll kind of give me some support, and then something here to protect the back side of the jacket so it doesn't bleed to the other side of the jacket. Alright, find the opening. There it is. So I'm going to go ahead and take the hoop out. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to put two characters on this sleeve. And here's the joy of watching me paint white paint on a black hoodie. Joys of joys. But this is pretty much what I had been doing when I didn't have sound and when I didn't have a camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit at a time. Oh, I got to do the top of this as well. So let's see. need to give the annotation of where the white is going to be. This pretty much is a jagged sword. I'll probably end up doing this last with painter's paint. These swords are pretty big. Okay, we'll do the core first. We'll start with the hands and work our way down. And then I'll dry it with my dryer, my hot air gun. This one, I'm doing an experiment. I'm not going to put the Mod Podge in this one. I'm going to put it over it after I've got all the final colors in. That way it'll seal the paint and we'll see which one lasts longer, the front or the side. And I'm thinking the side will probably last longer than the front regardless, simply because, it's not going to contact as much. Famous last words. Okay. This is long and tedious, and I have no way of speeding up the video, but at least you'll be able to see and maybe just enjoy the music. So I'll turn that up. If you have any questions, just go ahead and give me a holler in the chat. I have that up as well. And you just want to pretty much you want to take it and you want to thin it out as much as you can. This may take a couple coats in order to get this to be completely coated enough. Like one coat would be like if you had shadows, and you needed to put a color down. The color will still be, like the color that you need will still be dark. So you really want to go ahead and give it a really good base. First time through, just go ahead and lay it flat. Don't worry about that you can still see the black through it. On the screen, it looks a lot whiter than it is in real life. And I will bring this closer to the camera so you can see what I'm saying. With the camera at a distance, it looks white. It's fun, but it's not. It's not. Okay. What you see, you'll see like a little bit of black in there. You can still see the leaf. You really need to get that even whiter than that. It needs to be like completely white to where you don't see the black at all. Otherwise, the other color just will not. It'll adhere, no problem. It just will be eaten up by the dark tone of the jacket. Hence, I love drawing on white, but white gets dirty so easy. Like a white hoodie, and I would have bought one, but I couldn't find any. I pretty much get my jackets from Walmart, like on the fly, and they only come out during a certain time. And then after that, I go to like the dollar store and pick up one of the fluorescent hoodies. But yet you still have that same problem that you've got to give it a base, or the hoodie color, the fluorescent orange or little safety jackets. it'll just overcome the color. Yeah, I learned the hard way. You can't force this to take more than it can. You can't take more color than it can and still be flat and smooth. So I'm just trying to smooth out the color as much as I can. I apologize if the desktop audio or the music was way too loud or more than my voice. Basically, what I was saying, if it did kind of take over, is that you want to lay down some color, but you want to do it slowly. You want to build it up slowly. So, like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I'm going through it, I'm going to dry it so I can put more layers on at a time and see if I can get through it much faster. Let's see how long this will last. And from time to time I'll go ahead and turn off my sound so you don't have to hear the sound of this thing going. There's my brush. Keep this close by. And see if it dried it a little bit. I want to get to the point where I don't see any black at all where my white is here. No black. Yeah, I love this anime. Oh my god, I love it. It's one of those things that I look for on my Saturday afternoon, because it comes out in my neck of the woods after 12. It's ready for viewing, and oh my gosh, I love it. The visuals are gorgeous. And it's more artistic looking, you know. It's like I was checking out the line work and stuff like that. It's like of course it's a drawing, you know, because it's an anime, but it's not worried about lines being perfect. It's like being in one of those Japanese paintings or something, or watching a Japanese painting come to life, but a little bit more entertaining than that. I don't know, it's like a combination of that, of the traditional artwork and stuff, but I like that it's rough looking, because you don't notice it. It's unless you're looking for it. So I was looking at the backgrounds, because usually the backgrounds are immaculate, especially when they use CGI, but not this anime. Okay, so let me turn off my sound so you don't have to hear the hot air gun. Okay, so I'm noticing that if I do like 3 layers of paint, it's going to cover up the black. So this right here is just a 4th layer, unnecessary, but 3 layers seems good. So I just got to keep that in mind as I go. And I definitely want to hit where I think that the paint is going to be for this particular color, and leave just a little bit of a gap for the outline. I'm just going to come in as close as I can, just leaving a slight outline. Okay, I'm going to just take it a little bit further down here. I'm just trying to keep it as smooth as possible. Yeah, you can't rush your way through this. You can, but you may lose a little bit of detail unless you can, you know, paint your items and then remember where certain things are supposed to be. It's tricky. It's tricky, and you really don't want to make too many mistakes on these. I mean, you could go over it with white and kind of cover it up, but if you just take your time, it's not going to be too bad. Wish I would have gave myself that advice a few days ago. And I'm painting with a smaller brush, that way I have a lot more control. But likewise, if you want texture, definitely throw a lot of paint on and do it, you know, go in all kinds of different directions and stuff. Give yourself that texture if you want it. Like that texture would probably be cool on the mask here, because it's supposed to be fur. But on this, since it's a jacket, I don't know if I really want a really rough texture on here regardless. Yeah, this anime can get very interesting. I love when animes go dark. You know, like it starts out all nice and peachy keen, and then all of a sudden it takes a really super dark turn, something that you really didn't expect. And that's one of the reasons why I liked Hunter. Oh my gosh, that one took a crazy dark turn. Now it's hiatus, and I did do a shirt, kind of a little series dedicated to that. I've got that in my collection. Now, once you have your image already on here, you can stretch it to all hell if you want, if you need to, you know, to accomplish what your goals, because it will go back to its own size and you don't have to worry about it being too distorted. Okay, I'm going to put the heat on. So I'm going to turn this off. If you guys have any questions, just give me a holler. I am all ears. Alrighty, so for this part right here, I'm worried that I won't be able to capture the same area more than once, so I'm going to probably like put it on pretty thick, like just for the jagged edges, and then I'll be covering them up with black marker. I was using the Tulip black fabric marker for the other one, the other side here, and it did pretty good. It gave me some really good lines. I do have a finer marker that's coming probably tomorrow. If I'm lucky, it doesn't get sent back because I missed its delivery. All right. So I'm just going to make this really thick around the edges here, at the risk of having that raised feel. Regardless of this being a dimensional paint, this dimensional paint is pretty thin. When I did add Mod Podge to the paint, Mod Podge dries clear, so what it was pretty much doing was diluting the paint even further. It took it a little further through, but it didn't have that same kind of coverage. So I had to use twice as much paint in order for it to cover really well. This one, I don't think I'm using as much because I don't have any Mod Podge in it. Okay, so let me go ahead and dry this. And back to the music. So, you know, regardless of having, you know, taken my time, it still has that raised texture. Let's see, I gotta give it a second to focus. Let's see, it could be the light reflecting. Come on, you. Come on. I want to show that texture. There it is. There it is. It's focusing. You see how it has those little bumps? That's the texture of the jacket. What I'm trying to do is make it thick enough so that it doesn't crack in between to where you see the weave. It still looks good, but when you look at it, you know, from a distance, like normal, looking at someone normally. But if you're like right up on it, you see all the little cracks and crevices over time, especially after several washes and whatnot like that. Now I gotta get back into focus. Let me set myself down here. Come on, camera. There you go. Good camera. Nice camera. Okay. Give it praise. Give it praise. Okay. Let me get back up here. This thing is wrapped, so these are like little threads that are the end. Now you can always let it dry normally, I like letting it dry underneath a fan. But that, it could take days, extending your work time. And if you have a deadline for something like this, like say you're doing it for someone else, maybe a birthday or something like that, use the hot air gun. You'll dry it a lot faster, and you can throw your layers on a lot faster. Now, if I had my confidence that I'd be able to recreate what I see, I'd just go ahead and just throw slabs of paint down with one of these guys, and it gives a really good coverage. But I'm taking my time. I want to keep my lines. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And I think it looks a lot better doing this because if I decide I was going to carry it with me and wear it in between painting on the bus or whatever, which is I'm thinking I'm going to do because I have no footage of me coloring. I've got some of it where I did like an hour's worth of priming, but such as the hazards when I have my son visiting. He's on the computer or he's asleep behind me, one or the other, and I don't want to disturb him. This is one of those few times that he has a break and time to himself and can watch whatever anime, hentai, ninja porn, whatever. Or is that just me? Tentacle ninja porn, midget ninja porn, or chibi ninja porn, or whatever. Whatever these kids watch these days. Oh, I should do a JoJo shirt. I've got a white shirt that looks like it's pretty good quality. Hell, I got this big black and white jacket. I just cannot decide what I want to put on it. But I'm not the biggest fan of JoJo. I like the artwork, the art style, but he doesn't make me jump up every Saturday morning to go watch him. They talk too much. They have these weird bodies. But it has its moments where it's interesting, I'm sure. My son's tried to explain what makes it so cool, and I'm like, ... I tried sitting through it. I really did. It just didn't do anything for me. This one though is really good. What makes it better? Let's see. What do I like about this? Okay, like the art style, like it becomes a dance. The fighting scenes are pretty good. The character design is really nice. I really like this character, or else I probably wouldn't spend as much time trying to get it all nice and pretty and smooth. Like I want to do one whole shirt that just like You're the Pig and have this guy on it. He's just so out there. It's like he came down this mountain and he just like was ready to fight. He's ready to kill all the bad guys, all the, what are they called? Yeah, he's not afraid to fight anybody. I don't know. It's just, and he wears this ridiculous mask. It looks like a boar's head. But his character is exactly like a boar. It just like charges and it doesn't stop. It's just like just a bunch of flesh that comes right at you. That's him. Inosuke! Okay, give me a second. I'm going to dry this. Alrighty. I think this drying as I go is pretty cool. It dries pretty fast. The hot air gun is hot. So it's like pretty much giving me a really good base. Make sure that this head is just about right. Yeah, but this is a shonen. No romance thus far, which I'm pretty happy about. I'm one of those people that don't like to have action in their romance, or romance in their action. It's like, really, it's not even chocolate and peanut butter. It's just like, it's hard to pull off authentically. Like, it's hard for me to think of an action movie that has, you know, a good romance in it that's kind of believable. You know, it's like it slows things down. It's just like pooey. I don't want it. And this one doesn't have any of that in there, none of that mushy stuff. Or if it does, it's between characters that are not important. You know, they're just like there for the episode. You know, husband and wife or whatever. Now, if it's a romance outright, you know, yeah, you can do that and just have your action in it. That's cool. But yeah, I'm kind of particular about my action. No romance. You keep that romance junk out of here. But so it has that. It has funny moments. It has a lot of sad moments. Lots and lots of sad moments. Or tragic. It's tragic. It's like, just imagine a world where there are demons and they're eating people or turning other people into demons against their will. It's just kind of tragic. Let's see if we can get this wall-eyed look. Where it has like one eye looking in one direction. And I think even like the character design of this particular character, he's a boar, but he's a goofy looking boar. You know, his mask is goofy looking. And it's, I guess, a creature that he killed with his bare hands or something like that, and he just made a mask out of it. He's a good looking guy, I guess. Everybody kind of looks the same in this anime to me. I think the only thing that's different is their hair and their clothing. But you know, it's like he's wearing a mask and he's kind of mysterious. He's loud and challenges, and it's like, I've never really cared for the characters that are like really loud and obnoxious. I almost stopped watching Black Clover because the main character just would not stop yelling. I don't know how that voice actor could stand being in that role with that constant screaming at the top of his lungs. I mean, it's like, dude, talk to him. Just talk. It's okay. You don't have to emphasize everything like it's so important. I don't know. We understand passion. You don't have to scream. And I almost stopped watching. I was this close to stop watching. Because it's just, he just would not stop. And I didn't, usually in Japanese movies and stuff like that, they have Japanese characters, kind of quiet and introspective, and but this guy was loud, and I guess being that loud in public is like kind of frowned upon. But from what I understand of the culture, and I'm like, how would they? It's just weird. It's like whoever created that character just kind of put his, I guess, an alter ego. I don't know. He seemed more American than anything. Who knows? But anyway, I ended up sticking with it until now. It's got this weird character arc. Weird, not even a character arc. It's just a weird arc altogether. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Like everybody's turned, not everybody, but a good portion of the people turn into fairies or something like that, or elves, and they're all out for blood, retribution. And I understand the need for revenge and stuff, but it's just taken a really strange turn. Stranger turn than usual. How about that? Anyway, I'll eventually catch up. I think I'm a couple episodes behind. I'm just not feeling it. But I like the fight scenes. I like being caught off guard. And I think that's one of the things about this anime. It's not as... Like, I know that the good guy is going to triumph. I just don't know how he's going to triumph. And I don't mind it being predictable in that sense that, he's going to get it. He's going to win. We just don't know how he's going to win. We don't know who's going to save him, if somebody even saves him. Well, we know he's going to find that last bit of energy and overcome, that sort of thing. And I that's one of the things I like about this anime. It's a I guess typically a shonen anime, boys cartoon, and but it's got action. It doesn't have that romance crap in it. It's a brother and sister dynamic, and it's not them trying to get into each other's pants. It's like, yay, something interesting. It's a different story. Same kind of motif, must save my sister, but she's a character that, what is it called? She doesn't need saving, at least in the sense that I'm thinking, like the damsel in distress type of thing. She's interesting. I don't want to give away anything of the plot, but for those who may be interested in watching it. But at first I was like, oh, this is going to be dumb. This is going to be boring. And oh, look, in the third episode, he comes across the boss. I'm like, oh, I guess it's just going to be a short one. Yeah, but he survives the encounter, and it still doesn't lose its flavor. The fight scenes definitely are interesting. I got to give it that. I keep coming back for more. So, and just frustrated when it gets to the the end of the episode. It's like, no, I hate being caught up. See, I think the heat seems to make some of the layers dry a lot faster, even before I put the paint on. It's interesting. Alright, so right now I'm thinking to myself, I'm at the ugly stage where it's just like, do I want to continue? It's like, yeah, I want to continue. Of course I do. When you get tired or if you need to take a break, take a break. You want to be at your best when you do these things, or at least a moderate area of your best. It's a work in progress. And I always tell myself I always have an ugly stage. It's that point where you know it's going to be good when it's done. You know it's going to be good. It's just that right now you're tired. You've been at it for, let's see, how long are we not this thing? An hour and 44 minutes. So it's like, if you need to take a break, take a break. If it takes a couple days to get back to it, then so be it. Sometimes what I do is, especially if I, don't know what I want to do, or, I forget. It's been like forever since I've done t-shirts and stuff like that. Because I, got my iPad and, my drawing skills have taken a bit of a break because I had so many wonderful editing tools at my disposal that I didn't have when I was drawing traditionally. And it comes back, and me, I have the benefit of looking at my old videos and just seeing how far I've come since the very, 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 very first video with the really bad lighting. Didn't know it was bad at the time. But now to some decent lighting. You see what's going on. Decent camera. And I was doing it on the fly. And one of the things I didn't consider is that I really love drawing. I really love drawing on shirts and jackets. I love seeing the end result. So whenever you get to that point where it's like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Especially if you're doing it, you know, and you don't have any, you know, there's no monetary gain in it, at least none that you see right off the bat. And that's for any artwork. You know, you get to an ugly stage. You get to a stage where it's like, okay, I can stop right now, or I can keep going, push on. It's not coming out the way I want it to. Should I keep going, or should I go in a different direction? You know, it's one of those things that your mind, you know, engages you when it gets a little slow. Let's see. Now, in this area, it's a pretty big area. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to a bigger brush, since I don't have to be as precise in this neck of the woods. And then throw a little bit more paint on it. Let's see, I've changed the direction of the thing on the inside, the little lid that I'm using. What I'm using on the inside of this, on the inside of the sleeve, is a Chinese restaurant lid to one of my favorite meals, the housemate fun. So thank God the tariffs don't seem to apply to a Chinese restaurant, because I'd have to revolt then. Or maybe it's always applied, I don't know. But you use what you got. Don't worry about getting like the most expensive items and stuff like that to make your shirts and stuff if you're into doing that sort of thing. I use what you got. You become innovative when you have to improvise. Even the paints and stuff. None of this stuff is over $10. Well, the housemate fun was. All that stuff is so good. If you've never tried it, try it. Oh my God. Rice noodle and everything in the house is in it. Okay, so now basically what I'm doing, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the big areas. I don't have to be precise in this. Around the edges, if I'm trying to maintain something, I have to be precise, but not here. Do not have to be precise. So I'm going to use this big brush here, lay it on as thick as I can, and then heat it up. But I will try to leave myself like a little landmark or something of where certain things begin and end. Let's see. But it's not that important, just as long as I stay within my lines. Now if I make a mistake, like say I go a little bit too far out of my lines, improvise, add something else in there. Add sweat, add things, like atmospheric things. Give them a background. Let's see. You know, nobody needs to know that you made the mistake unless you tell them. And like point it, like right here. This is where a mistake is. Look right here, everybody. Ignore everything else that's right about the jacket. Just look right here. And you know what's funny is that people don't stare. You know, unless there's like a shit ton of details. That's when people like try to take it all in. But a lot of the time people look at you for about a couple seconds, especially if you're wearing your own artwork, look at you for a couple seconds and either are making the determination in your mind that what the hell are they wearing, or where can I get that, you know. So I also found that I like drawing on shirts and jackets and stuff like that because it's a one-of-a-kind item. I don't have a whole bunch of money to go out and buy brand name stuff. and show my fan support, you know, and a lot of the things that are out there, you know, that I want or would love to see, you just can't buy in a store. You'd be lucky to find it even online. But it doesn't say you know, even if it's done poorly. This is my fan art. Mine. And it's an honor when other people want it. So, one of the things also about this fabric paint, once it's on, like this hoodie and stuff, it looks like you bought it in a store. The stuff looks that awesome. If you can get it nice and smooth and layered really well, it's just amazing to look at. Okay, so let me put some heat on this thing and stop babbling. One moment. You know, I'm half tempted to try to get back into watching Naruto for all the different villages and their masks and symbols and stuff. I mean, the designs alone would look absolutely fabulous on a shirt. Just thinking out loud. Plus I get to see an interesting story. Oh, squeeze. Now this particular bottle is made for people who are using it in a dimensional fashion, where they're like doing raised letters or raised whatever. I don't have the patience to create raised art with the paint, because I always keep wanting to touch it. Is it done yet? And then if you put a heat to it, it might make it go flat. Yeah, I don't have the patience for it. But it does work very well as base. It does give a bit of a raised feel to it. Instead of it just going right on into the fabric, it does have a bit of a raised texture and whatnot to it. So what I'm hoping that happens is that it looks like it was like printed. Sometimes people stop me and ask me, is that embroidered? And I'm like, no, it's painted. It's the paint goes on and it feels kind of like a rubber. I don't know if you've ever, you know, I'm sure that if you've ever bought a shirt online and you've gotten it, it feels like that texture of one of those manufactured shirts where the paint or the decal that's on there has a bit of a raised feel. It's like you take your finger and you know, rub across it, and it feels kind of like a rubbery, plasticky feel. That's what this feels like, especially if you put it on really thick. Over time it softens, and I've also noticed that it also breaks and shows the fabric texture. It's not a bad thing. It's kind of ugly when you're looking at it up close, but I'm trying to overcome that. Maybe make it last a little bit longer than that. And usually it happens over 5 years, you know, continuous washing and things like that. And this paint does feel heavy, so it's better to wear it like on a jacket than like on a t-shirt, where the thing is closer to your skin, and you feel that heaviness on your chest. I don't like that feel. Maybe after a few washes, or if I'm just wearing it for a few hours and stuff, you know, I forget about it. But other times, nah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply heat. Bring this back up a bit and just kind of finish this part up. Now, apologize, I didn't turn it off. Turn off my sound here. The most important part of this guy was his skin, and this thing around his waist. It's pretty light colored. It's like a straw color, and I'm just trying to make it a little rough looking around the edges, because it's got like a straw like fur like appearance. The pants here are like a deep dark blue, so I'm not gonna sweat putting like multiple layers or any further layers on here, because it'll be okay. It'll be dark. Okay. The only other important part on here are his feet, his exposed toes. Because those are light. So when I get down to the legs here, let me try this part before, because I don't want anything to collapse on itself and then spread the white paint around. So I'm going to put some more heat on this, and then I'm going to move forward down to the left and right leg. All right. Alright, I could tell that I applied a lot of heat to this. I could see the little balls of paint rising up on the pants here. So maybe I'm a little too close with my heat. That's a possibility, or is it just it's melting the plastic that's in the paint itself. I was just like looking at it close as the heat was getting applied to it. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of paint on this side of the leg here, and then heat it up again to dry it really fast. And it dries pretty fast when heat is applied. Make sure it stays nice and smooth. Okay, I'm going to apply some more heat. Alright, because this thing is smaller in scale, I won't be able to use my sponge brush any further. And I'm going to switch back to a smaller brush. Just filling in this thing here. Okay. Alrighty. This brush is pretty good. I'm not sure. It just says number 6 on it. I don't know if that means anything. Okay, so go. I like how well the sponge applied the paint. I might take some sponges and cut them to size a little bit so I can use them in place of brushes like this. Just seems to really just throw that paint on really fast. Alright, so I'm going to turn off my mic.
What's on your mind?
Alright, so far, let me go ahead and turn this down just a smidge. Alrighty. Okay, so where I am thus far, I have got a good base that I can start off with first thing in the morning and do some coloring. But this is what the sleeve is going to look like. This is what the base is, and it'll pretty much have a wraparound type of look to it because you know, the character's so big on here. I could have gone a little smaller and added the second character on here, but I'm like, nah, this is my favorite guy. I'll put him on the other guy, on the other sleeve, maybe. But I have to still do the swords up here, but it's a pretty good start. So let me turn this a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. And then basically what I do is I just go ahead and paint. As if I was painting on white fabric. It will take the paint pretty well. Only thing is that the paint that I currently am using is pretty thin. So again, I'd have to use the same techniques where I'd have to pretty much layer the color on here. But you hear this? That's what you'll hear until it softens up. It sounds like plastic, and it feels like plastic. It's like a plastic coating, but it's the actual paint. It's if you've ever painted acrylic on fabric or onto a t-shirt, you'll know what I'm talking about. It starts off relatively stiff. It's not that stiff, but you know, as if I did like a Mod Podge picture or something like that. But it's got its own little, you know, it's got a little bit of texture to it, and it is kind of heavy because it is paint. You're wearing a painting. But it'll last a long ass time, and if it doesn't like start to separate with cracks and stuff, that was like 5 years down the line with continuous washing and stuff. Most jackets don't get that kind of attention. Maybe once a month or so, depending on how often you wear it, how often it gets dirty. But you know, this is Florida. I don't think I'd be wearing it too long. Yeah, it's pretty hot out here. I might be a smidge out of proportion, I think. Yeah, well, he's got this big tutu looking thing that's right here, and then it hangs down just a little bit further than that. It's like this fur waistband, and his pants are pretty baggy anyway. But we'll see how it turns out. I'm really looking forward to painting this. He is one of my favorite characters, and if it does end up being out of proportion or something like that, something that I feel like I need to cover up or anything like that, I can always bring the dragon around a bit and have it kind of like encapsulate the sleeve and stuff like that, or whatever Inosuke's power is. I can always add that to it as well. I also have the option of putting in, I'm thinking butterflies, because there's another character on the show whose outfit is like a big butterfly. It's just freaking gorgeous. Ombre colors and stuff like that. But I think I've punished you guys with 2 hours worth of Kim, too long, or at least an hour's worth of Kim. The rest of the time was just pretty much setting up the base. But yeah, this is what it takes to paint onto dark fabric with paints like that I'm using, these fabric paints. You need to overcome the dark tone, and tomorrow I can show you what it looks like when you don't have a base. You're working 3 times as hard trying to get the color on. We may even be able to see that probably with a sword or two or something like that. We'll see. But anyway, well, it kind of doesn't matter. Well, actually, there's some blue on the sword, so I can at least show what the blue would look like if it didn't have a base to bring out the color tones. But yeah, on here you can kind of see I used the base, and the colors all came out really far more vibrant than if I didn't. You could use the black of the shirt to make, you know, the black here, but I like how it has that raised look to it. So having black paint here instead might be a little bit better. I don't know, like here's what it looks like with black paint right here. It kind of has a little shine to it, and without, that's just the shirt. You know, you kind of see the difference. Like on his jacket sleeve is just the shirt, and then here it is with the paint. So you might want to use a combination to set some your blacks apart from each other. Some of these blacks aren't all completely black. Some of them are like a deep dark green, which I'll probably end up painting over, because looking at this and looking at the black and then looking at the green, I mean, this is pretty good when it's in the light, but I really like how shiny the black is. It's just like, ooh, pretty shiny. Alright, so I still have quite a bit of ways to go on here. I'm thinking about using a silver paint on the sword. I'm debating if I can get the dang thing open. I'll go for it. I still need to add, like I said, I need to add his birthmark, and I need to add some shadows to really bring out the face in an anime feature. Also on the mask here, I need to add some shadows and stuff like that for drama as well. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for popping in. Tatted Hearts, always a pleasure. Even if you're here for a heartbeat, you know, it just means the world to me to see at least one person, you know, send me a shout out. Not that I'm desperate or nothing. I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it, you know, because I really enjoy painting. And if you are interested in other tips and stuff like that, maybe sometime I will share more tips with you as I'm going along. So again, I will see you on the morrow. For those of you who don't sleep or don't mind popping in and saying hi, I'm usually on about 5:30 in the morning every day, Monday through Friday, except when I'm not. Jeez. And I will, and usually I do this before I go to work. That's how I fit my art into my day, and then after that I'm like struggling to get home, and I'm too tired. I'm too tired to even look at anything, except for YouTube. You know, it is, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, I got a ton more things to do. Next things that are up, I'm gonna finish up the jacket, throw, like I said, some finishing touches here. I gotta throw the black in the hair, maybe decorate the earrings just a little bit more, and then definitely the shadows, and then his part will be done. I might even go back and do the pants here in that black, just to bring them out more. And then that dragon, it's gonna just be overwhelming. And then I'll plan the back, maybe put his sister on the back, and finish up our fella here, and add his other sidekick. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you sped through this and didn't spend eternity step by step watching me try to whip this stuff out. And for others, I will see you on the morrow. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.